Oh, Lynn, I am so excited for our conversation today. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I have been such a big fan of yours for such a long time. I maybe have been a secret stalker because, I think you're amazing. So thank you so much for saying yes to me. I'm
Oh,
so
thank
appreciative.
you.
Let me ask you this, darling. When someone asks you what you do, how do you describe yourself?
Oh my gosh. Well, I've always had a thing for not pigeonholing myself into wedding planner or party planner.
Uh-huh.
So when people ask me what I do, I tell them I produce events.
Yes.
I've always trained myself in the wedding world, but in the non-wedding world too. And when I go to conferences, I often go to lighting and technology and catering and cross train like that. So it's not just about the checklist and the pretty pen. It's about the production. It's about the staging of things, the timing of things, the flow of things. So it's a lot more than just a wedding planner. But
It is indeed.
also says on our Instagram page that we serve love for a living.
I love it. You serve love for a living. I
Yes.
love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, well then I want to unpack that just a bit more. Like take us back to the beginning. What pulled you into this magical, emotional,
Mm.
high stakes world
Well,
of weddings and events? What pulled you into it? Like what drew you into it in the first place? How did you get started into it? And then how did you stay?
how did I stay here? Well, I always say that it found me. I didn't find it. So a series of crazy events sort of happened. I was always a romantic, of course. I was
Yeah.
born that way. I was also born very bossy. Shocker. Anybody that knows me will know that I love making things happen.
Yeah.
So I was the captain of the safety patrols in grade 5. Like I've always been that person that say, pick me, I can do this, I can cheer everybody on, I can make everybody come to the table and have a great time. I've just been bred that way, and I thank my mother for that because she's amazing.
I
And
love
then I was in a marching band. I was a drum major of a marching band. I was in every musical group you could imagine. I was in choir in university. I went to become a teacher. Um, went to university for that. I loved the world of special needs kids. So it was like all about fixing and making and empowering people to be their best. So when I was a teacher, I ended up doing more events for the school than I did actually teaching. So it kind of overcame me. And then I started doing the grad and the retirement parties and all of that. And I thought, damn, I'm kind of good at this. Huh.
yeah.
Maybe I should have a side hustle for a while. So bunch of my girlfriends were getting married, and I'm like, you know,
I
can
can
I
do
tag
that.
along? Can I learn with you? And of course, dove into the overachiever world and just
Mhm.
researched everything I could. And back in the day, it was books
Mhm.
from chapters and reading books and scanning things and making binders, and just prepared myself for that. And I thought, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to learn everything I can. And then I said goodbye to teaching about a year later, gave
Really?
up my beautiful pension and security for the world of entrepreneurship. Go me.
Oh, you. Every
Woo
single
woo.
entrepreneur that's listening is like, oh, I got you, sister. Oh, I got you.
You know the meme when people jump off a cliff, and the definition of entrepreneurship is jumping off a cliff and figuring out how to build the plane on the way down. It's kind of
Yes,
how we roll.
yes. What do you
Learn
think?
as you go.
Do you have like a key defining moment where you realized that this was your calling? Certainly you played more in events as opposed to teaching, but was there a key defining moment that was like, I'm going to pull the trigger? And how much courage did it take you to pull the trigger? Again, to lose stability, sustainability, a
Mhm.
pension,
It actually, funny enough, if I'm
stable
going to be,
income.
yeah,
Yeah.
if I'm going to be really honest and raw here,
Yeah.
Allison, it was leaving my first husband, if I might say. My
Yes.
life was complete chaos.
Really.
And I was living in Vancouver at the time. I was doing lots of weddings, doing great at school. I was busy all the time. I did a lot, but it just that that world was not for me personally, and I needed to really get out. And it took me a lot of guts and a lot of, courage and training and support from my friends to be able to make that change. So, put the key under the door, drove over the Coquihalla, came over to Alberta, moved home to be with my family again. And it was a clean start. I had nothing to my name, debt free. The world was my oyster.
Mm-hmm.
I had done a lot of work on myself, and I entered into
Mm-hmm.
Alberta saying, I am going to take this bull by the horns and I'm not stopping. So watch me. Here I go. And that was it. I just jumped in. I didn't know a thing. I didn't know where I was going to land, but
You
I
did.
did. And look at me now. So it's just a pure lesson in tenacity. And sometimes out of a big
Courage.
crisis and your lowest low comes your highest high eventually. And I just believe so much in the world gives you what you need when you need it.
Yeah. My mom, who's no longer with me anymore, left me with this. She said that no matter who you believe in, God, Allah, Shiba, the stars, whatever, that she said God gave you gifts every single day. You just
Yep,
had to be aware of them. And sometimes those gifts were hard gifts.
that's right.
Some of them were beautiful, but at the end of the day, they're all beautiful because of the lesson in it.
The world gives you what you need, not what you want.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes that's
Always.
hard for us to see, especially when the world's giving us what we don't think we need.
Sometimes it's a lot of shit. I'm not gonna lie.
A
I
lot
can
of.
only be tested so much. But yeah, dig deeper. Here we go.
Tell me, how did you start Lynn Fletcher Weddings? How did you start that? Like, what was your initial vision? So, like, after you moved from BC to Alberta, you had a carte blanche in terms of what you could do. How did it start?
You're digging, girl. You're coming up with the good stories. So I moved home. My mom, I knew a lot of people in the event industry. She was in the oil patch at the time. So she researched a great place for me to land. I ended up working with a brilliant, brilliant designer, a lady that owned an event company. I learned a lot from her. Did great, won awards, did, 55 weddings a year by myself, had an assistant, living the life, went to every conference. I taught at Mount Royal in the event management department. She really elevated me. I would have never gotten there by myself. So I have to really give her kudos for
Mhm.
that. She's now retired, but I thank her every day for the ground that she gave me. So ended up having a baby, wanting a little change, going to a different company, more of a corporate side, and it just didn't work. Didn't
Didn't
work.
work
I had weddings. I started a social division for them. I was helping with corporate events, and it just, sometimes it's a person thing. It's not a job thing.
out.
I had, a BlackBerry back then, and a parking spot, and a Mac laptop, and all the things,
Yeah.
but I didn't have that soul light that I needed. So, I think my boss felt it at that time, and we sort of said
Yeah.
bye bye. And
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't believe it was going to happen like that fast.
Really.
Be careful what you wish for, right? So
Mm.
I have a. I'm known for pink, and I'm known for rhinestones, and my exit from that company is where that story started. So
Really?
he said to me, Lynn, you're like Linus off Charlie Brown, except it's not dirt, it's glitter, and it's pink.
And for anybody that's ever met Lynn, oh my God, that is the best way to describe her.
The pink tornado.
I'd like to call you a pink starburst.
Oh, starburst. I like that better. Supernova. Anyway, I'm a lot, and I'm proud of it. It's okay. And he said, you blow in and you blow out and you leave glitter on everything, and then you're just gone. And you're all over the place. And I cried. I thought, oh, you're so mean. You're so rude. That's so not nice. And so I left in tears, and I went over to my mentor's office. She worked not too far from me. Kathy James, God love her. She started the wedding industry in Calgary and was the original OG of the trade shows, magazines, everything. So I
Yeah.
went to her office and I collapsed. in on her floor and grabbed her dog, and then just sitting there on the floor crying. And she goes, "What are you crying for? Why are you so upset? Get to the bank and get a bank account
Yep.
and put your name on it and
Yep.
start your own business. They're letting you leave with your clients, Lynn. Take it and run." So the first year, I was never in debt because of that. Like, I was
Oh,
already going to make money. It's
fantastic.
just I didn't have to give it to the company that I was working for. I got to keep it all myself. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So Lynn Fletcher Weddings was born, and my first logo was this giant L swirly thing because I wanted to just give a little nod to the pink tornado man. Let me go. Blessing in disguise. Yeah. So I hired a marketing person at that point because people were like,
Smart.
"Oh, that's a lot." So I had to hire somebody, and he interviewed me, and he's like, no, you are pink for sure,
Hmm.
glittery for sure,
Hmm.
but you're rhinestones, you're not glitter."
Oh,
Yeah. And you're not flaily and flowery and all this chaos. You have a good sense about you, have a good solid
structure.
head on your shoulders
Yep.
and good solid design sense.
Mm.
Your the events in your weddings are absolutely gorgeous and meticulously designed. So the colors of your company are going to be gray and black. And then we're going to put a pink rhinestone on it somewhere.
Okay.
I'm like, good. I'm going to put them on my business cards. He goes, "Don't you dare." And I said, "Watch me." And then he submitted his business card design because at the time I was just going for it, right?
Yep.
Like my business cards were like $1.25 each at the time. And they had all these imprints, and it was made of cotton, and they had like glossy this and that and embossed things. They were works of art. Anyway, put a rhinestone on it. And he said, "I'm going to submit this for an award and see what happens." Well, he won.
No, I
With
love
pink
this.
rhinestones. I know. So to this day, my business cards, although very much cheaper, still have pink rhinestones on them. I glue them on myself.
Oh,
So that's how I got started.
I love this. I love this. I love this. I love this. Tell me, like, what was your original vision? Right? So, like, you're out on your own, you have your original vision. And if you look back at everything that you've been through, everything you've done, and you've done some incredible, incredible things. Oh my God. How has your initial vision, has it changed at all? Is it still the same? What does it look like and feel like?
It's changed a lot. Someone recently told me, we got talking one day, a wedding fair setup, and he said, you used to be the biggest force in the whole world, in this whole industry. Like, people knew you were coming months before you were coming, and
Mhm.
you were so full of life and so full of energy and sharpness. And but there was an edge to me. I wanted to take over the world. I
Mm.
wanted it all of it, because I grew up an overachiever. I did everything. I was the top of everything. I had to be the best at everything and push myself really hard. So that was sort of genetically, when I made my own business, I wanted it to be the best and the biggest. And I wanted to be a leader in the industry. So
Mhm.
I was teaching at Mount Royal already in the event management stuff.
Mhm.
I became a member of ILEA, so the International Live Event Association. So I became a member, and then quickly became a board member, and then a chair. And then I was ILEA Canada
Kel
board chair,
surprise.
and
Kel
all of that, like
surprise.
12 years of that. It was awesome. It was a great time. Went to every conference, like bought a magazine halfway through in 2014, crazy, like a bridal magazine. So I ended up with like 2 companies with 3 arms and 5 different groups of staff. And I went hog wild. I just wanted it all. I wanted to mentor everybody.
Mhm.
And I did all that. I can't believe I did all that.
Do you still have the magazine?
No. Oh God, COVID killed it.
Excuse me.
No, no.
She's like, no, no. How long,
Mm-mm.
how long did you have the magazine for? What did you learn about yourself in that process?
I learned a lot. I learned a lot about publishing, a lot about design and space and balance and visual things like that I use every day in my design proposals and stuff. So that was very cool, learning from a graphic designer that was brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I'm a good speller because of all the proofing that we had to do. I do hate photo shoots. I won't do them ever again
Mm-hmm.
because I did too many. They were really hard because
Yes.
nothing goes the way you want it to, and everybody's there for free and they're having fun, and it's not as tight as an event would be. So I just don't like that lack of control. I learned that about me. But more than anything, I learned to think with my head and not my gut. Well, I do deal with my gut a lot, and I hope we get to talk about that. But
Mm,
when you're going to something really big, look at all the avenues. Don't just go with your inner spirit. Don't go with your gut. Don't go with your ego. And this is another spot to take over the world, you know.
mm,
Do it smart
mm.
and do it right. And in retrospect, I should have taken that process a little slower.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did it. I learned so much. But there was something really great about letting it go too. It was that reason, season, or a lifetime. The magazine
Mhm.
was only meant to be in my life for a season and teach me some good stuff and move on. So now I have the world and I love the world I live in. I love the world I don't live in anymore. You
Yeah.
know, I'm still present in all of those, but I'm a lot quieter than it used to be. I'm a lot more caring and soft, and I listen more now.
Mm,
I don't do go watch me. I say, what are you doing? What are you doing? How are you doing? Let's do this. You know, like
yeah.
I'm more interested in the people from the ground up than I am from the top down, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It was a
Mm-hmm.
big shift in 25 years for sure.
It totally makes sense. And oh yeah, we're gonna talk about gut and ego. Yes, you just wait. I got one
Yeah.
question for you, just in terms of values, because I think that, that's one thing that I really admire of you is that you really do have this beautiful ability, without saying any words, to really stand in integrity. And I think
Mhm.
it's really important. So my question to you is, what values, still guide your business today? What are your anchors in sort of the values? What do you value?
Honesty,
Yeah.
integrity, although I'm not perfect. Nobody is.
Mm-mm.
I've done some shitty things in my career for sure. But just be honest, be real, own your shit.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you make a mistake, apologize. There's something so freeing about saying, I'm so sorry. Let's fix this.
Yeah.
What's it going to take? You know, let me make it right. Or holding people accountable. Like
Yeah.
my staff, they all know, anybody will tell you three
Mm-hmm.
things need to happen when you make a mistake. You need to tell me, be honest,
Mm-hmm.
own it, and
Mm-hmm.
fix it.
Yes.
Don't
Yeah.
come to me with a problem. I'm not fixing your problems. You fix it. So just the honesty and the respect. You have to earn trust. I learned that too.
Mm-hmm.
But respecting the people that are around you and acknowledging that they're great. They're
Yes.
not exactly the way you want them to be, but you can't do that. I started my career thinking that I could mold these planners into mini me's, but I know now that I need to embrace and blow up who they are. Just like go. Give them the wings. Do it and cheer them on, you know.
I love that. I love that. Let's talk a little bit about, and again, I call you a magic maker, but let's talk a little
Mm,
bit about the business of magic, really balancing sort of that emotion and execution, because your world is such a fascinating world that I don't know if everyone has like a true understanding of the,
mm.
behind the scenes. Yes, a lot of folks have a good understanding of how to run a business behind the scenes. But what about running a business behind the scenes where emotions run super high and quite frankly, perfection is expected?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the
Yes.
bottom.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the bare minimum.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You get really good at what you know.
Yeah.
You get really good at your job
Yeah.
so that you're confident and you can be present with your clients on the day.
Mm.
They're letting you into the most intimate corners of their world
Mhm.
that not many people get to be in. And
No.
you're a stranger and they're paying you a lot of money. So you're not exactly their friend because you're taking a lot of their money,
Yes.
but somehow they want you there. It's that security blanket, it's the insurance policy.
Mm.
And I've always taken that role really seriously. And
Mhm.
I enter into every wedding with just gratitude for the honor of being in those people's lives for that day. And
Such a great anchor.
yeah, it's
Such a
just,
great
it's a
anchor.
privilege. It's not something that I deserve or that I'm entitled to at all. I'm serving love for a living.
I'm serving love for a
Serving
living.
you.
I
I'm
love it.
serving them. It's
I love
about
it.
them. It's
Yeah.
not ever about me.
Hmm. Hmm. So as you lead both like teams and families through one of the most emotional moments of their lives, how do you lead with the heart and execute with precision? Like, so how do you manage that? That especially like let's unpack the team first, right? So leading team that supports people through sort of that emotional milestones. How do you manage that? How do you help your team in that, especially for the team members that are more new into it and it's their first experience in dealing with heavy emotions.
For sure. And listening is the biggest thing. And
Mm,
I always tell my team, there's no bridezilla in the world. There's no groomzilla. There's no dadzilla. They're all zillas because they need your help and they're like in chaos. They're all zillaing
mhm,
when they come to you for help. They
mhm,
come to you for help.
mhm,
Help them.
mhm.
It's your job to help them get there and secure and reassure them. And just by talking, I say, just by talking, the tone of your voice gives them confidence and security. That's
Yeah.
why we always do rehearsals the night before, because I want to look mom in the eye and tell her, I got you. Our
Mhm.
goals are exactly the same. I want to nail this wedding just as much as you want me to nail it. And you want the best wedding for your daughter that you could possibly imagine. And so do I.
Or son.
Or son, yes.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we'll high five at the
Yeah.
end of the day or the next morning or whatever. And I want to hear from at least 5 people. That
Yeah.
was the best wedding I've ever been to. It's about making those memories. Like they talk in corporate events about return on, return on investment and getting your money and turning it around into more profits or whatever. You don't have that in weddings.
That's
You
why
have an
you left the corporate world
ROI.
because it wasn't heart-led.
Oh, it was like, I couldn't
Mhm.
do it. Couldn't do it. I
Yeah.
needed to hold somebody's hand. I'm like, Mr.
Yeah.
President, you need your hand held? No. Okay. Okay. Let me go over here. It's scary. It's very scary. But, loving people and bringing them up and like, you can do this. This is so amazing. I can't even. Just get excited for them and just check your ego at the door and live for these people and
Hmm.
be 100% invested in their happiness on the day. And if they go, it's very rare that our clients go Zilla after they sign their contract because we just said it right away. Here's what we do. Here's how we work. This is how we communicate. This is what we're going to do for you. We know our shit. Our work speaks for itself. Let's go. It's this much. And they're like, yay, do
Come with me.
it. But it's humility. It's just serve, 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 serve.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
uh let's pull the string a little bit on that because I'm super interested in this. I'd love to know some of the lessons that you learned, and I'm gonna I'll kind of all the pieces and then we'll unpack each one. So what
Okay.
we'd really like to know the lessons that you've learned about boundaries, about communication, about grace under pressure, about gut and ego. So
Mhm.
much to unpack, but I want to unpack boundaries first. What lessons
Boundaries.
have you learned about boundaries? It's
Hmm.
so important. So important.
There's personal boundaries and there's professional boundaries. So
Mhm.
personal boundaries, I learned that when I got pregnant. My boss wouldn't let me do teardown. Thank God. I kicked and screamed. I really fought back on her. And she said, you will realize that your body equilibrium, you will be more effective if you don't do teardown.
Yeah.
You can't put your body through that. Anybody that does night shift knows what that feels like. It's blurry, like you're in menopause when you're 25. It's just bad.
Mhm.
Your mind goes on you. So I learned what it felt like because I'd always done the whole thing, set up, did execution, production, tear down. Like I'd put in a 24-hour day. Back in Vancouver, I used to do flowers too and sew the kids' dresses and the whole shebang.
Oh my God, you are a
Oh
magical
yeah.
unicorn.
I did the
Pink
invitations.
magical unicorn with sparkles,
Oh my
rhinestones.
gosh. I loved all of it. I loved it. I sewed. I think in patterns actually. I'm going on a tangent, but um I have the gift and I'm so grateful for it is seeing things being put together, whether that's people, a marching band show, a bridal gown, a Halloween costume. I can see the steps.
Mhm.
And it's kind of bad because I see the steps so clearly. I never give myself enough time to make those things happen. I
Mhm.
just think it's going to happen. Then I'm like sewing a dress and I'm like on hour 6 and why is this taking me so long? It's really fast in my head. Anyway,
Fantastic.
I know I don't know where I was at, but oh, boundaries. Okay.
Yes.
So learning to not do tear down. My team still fights me on it to this day, but only 12-hour day,
Mhm.
you're done. If
Yeah.
you stay later, that's your problem, not my problem, because I'm trying to take care of you here.
Mhm.
And if you want to put in 24 hours, you go right ahead, but you're not getting paid for it. So it's okay. It's a
To-
control thing, and that's fine. No
Totally fair.
problem.
Totally fair.
Yeah,
Totally.
mental health, if somebody needs anything, for themselves or they're sick and they come in and I'm like, what are you doing? Get out of here. Go home. Get
Mhm.
some rest. Jeez Louise.
Mm. Mm.
Family members pass away. They're devastated with the loss of a family member.
Take time
I'll,
to mourn.
I'll do whatever I can to support them. If they're going to do a wedding next week, you're not doing a wedding. I'm doing the wedding for you. I just swoop in and
Mhm.
take care of it. And I really love the concept of family here with my team. And we really encourage each other personally too. Like that means a lot to me that I know what all of my team do personally. I know what matters to them, what makes them happy,
So
struggles
important.
they're having at home. It just helps me understand them a lot better so that I can support them better. And then in turn, they support me.
Yeah. Well, it's just
So
helping navigate the environment.
I can vent at work. What? A lot of times bosses can't. All they do is give, 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 support, 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 and they don't get anything back, anything for themselves. But with the right team, and gaining that trust and earning that respect both ways, it can be very fulfilling. Your team can really support you and cheer you on as a leader,
Well, it
which
can
is
really
awesome.
make or break you and your team if not handled in
Mhm,
the right way, right?
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Personal boundaries, I discovered apps, scheduling apps, and I
Okay.
block time. No more
Good.
Sundays. I don't meet anybody on Sundays. I have time limits for each type of meeting. Client planning meetings I do in the evenings because
Mhm.
that's when they're all available. And Saturdays, like from 10 to 1 kind of thing, because I like time with my family. So time blocking is really important. I will block personal time and I will take personal time and I'll work around it. I'll make up client work wherever I have to, but family, I try to put family first when there's something important. So there's that. And a lot of times I don't stay over if we're working out of town. I'll just drive home.
Okay.
So I will put a 12-hour day in. I
Yeah.
will leave at 9 o'clock p.m. and I'll have enough energy to drive home so that I can be really present and have a full day with my family on Sundays.
Oh, it sounds like you've got some really good systems in place. It probably is also, much like all of us, took you some lessons in which to learn some of those systems.
Huge,
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
huge. I
Oh.
missed a lot of my daughter's childhood. I started my company when she was 15 months old.
Mm.
So I missed a lot. I missed the little moments. I have a lot of moments. I have a lot of memories. And of course, big stuff, birthdays, Christmas, all of that, I go crazy. But just the little things, the little, I need you, mom. I need to talk about something or whatever.
Yeah.
But I have time now, and I've had time for a good 8 years. So it's now that she's a teenager, it's really important now. So
Really important. In fact, even more so having two children go be past teenagers almost. I think
mhm,
this is the most critical development time in their lives where you need to be present. Like take all the vacations you want when they're babies because they just sleep 10 hours a day. But when they're budding adults, whoa, you really need to walk alongside them.
mhm. And I'm learning a lot about this generation too. I'm listening to a book called The Anxious Generation about, like, my kid is part of the generation. It's the first generation of a phone-based childhood,
Yeah.
not a play-based childhood. So
Yes.
executive function doesn't exist really in this generation generally. So right now in teenagehood, the front of the brain is still being performed. The executive function, the planning, and things that they're going to need in adulthood is still developing. So I'm jumping in hard, man.
So
But there's no rule book, there's no guidebook. So we're just trying the best we can with
isn't that
that. But
that's
you
all
know,
we
then
that's all
I
we
tell her,
yeah. I love that. I love that. What about lessons that you've learned around communication?
don't hide anything.
Hmm. You get
Don't try and be perfect.
yeah.
Admit when you're failing, admit when you need help, admit when you've made a mistake. That was COVID for sure. That was
Really?
so hard. Of course, we all know what happened. The event business went down, but weddings, because of the emotional aspect of it, they were holding on for dear life,
Yeah.
and they were postponing. So I had to talk people off a ledge like every second day to keep them. So I didn't have to give them refunds because I had no money at the time.
And we
Thank God
kept
for
on hearing
government
it's
in
just
Canada.
2 weeks. It's just 2 weeks. It's just 2 weeks.
Oh, we'll be fine by November. 2 years later. But thank goodness we live in Canada, and not
Mhm.
everybody likes that prime minister, but he threw money at us, and so grateful. So grateful. I had a great banker. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I was trying to be the Lynn Fletcher. I was trying to be there for everyone. I was going on podcasts and like video calls for international things and mentoring and supporting, and lots of event people phoned me for advice, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what's happening. I'm with you.
Mhm.
It's never happened to me before, so I don't know what to do. I'm so sorry. I'm
Mhm.
with you. And then I just had to quickly realize that I was not okay, that I was not the Lynn Fletcher that I wanted to be. And I was in pain, and I was really stressed out, and I was worrying about everybody in the world, my staff and my family mostly,
Yeah.
how I was going to provide for all those people. And
Mhm.
it was very, very heavy. Then I got blessed with menopause, so that really didn't help much either.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah. And the wine and the
Oh, the
cigarettes that I
joys of
brought.
being a woman.
I have a beautiful friend in the event world. Her name's Carrie Miller. She's a wonderful friend of mine, but she's one of the first people that called me to see if I was okay during COVID. And we're both in our pajamas, drinking wine like all day.
Hmm?
That didn't help at all. But there were very few people that I really leaned on, very few. And
Mm,
I made that was a big mistake moving, like looking back. I
yeah.
should have been more honest with my team. I should have been more honest with my family. I needed to tap out.
Mhm.
I was not okay. I needed to get right again. My mental health was in the toilet. It was bad. It was really bad. I couldn't get off my couch. Like, just the panic on what was going to happen tomorrow, because none of us knew.
Yeah.
None of us knew.
Yeah.
But
How'd you get through
I
that?
worked really hard. I worked really hard. The second half of COVID, I discovered Clubhouse. That was amazing. That was sort of came in and left in a night. But I made friends on Clubhouse that I didn't even know, that lived in Australia and stuff. It was so neat because I could vent and I could share how I was feeling with these people in all of these chat rooms.
Yeah.
And there was no pressure to be the Lynn Fletcher of this community. I
Oh,
was just me, and I was vulnerable, and I cried and got amazing support and advice from a lot of people around the world, a lot of like business coaches and stuff that were on there. And
amazing.
I learned from them to just start loving yourself. That's where you have to start. They say in the airplane, when the airplane's going down, you put the mask on yourself first before you put your mask on your kids. or anyone else for that matter. So I put my mask on myself.
I love it.
And I really tried hard to be kind, be kind to myself,
Mhm.
forgive myself, and just reinvent who I was and just be kinder to myself first. And then that would spread to other people. My staff tell me that I'm very different post COVID,
Really?
and they love who I am. I mean, they loved me before just because I was a badass, but now I'm like, I care and it's obvious and they believe it. And I'm softer, I think. I take it a little bit more easy,
Yeah.
you
How
know.
hard was it for you during that period to be kind to yourself?
Mm-mm. It was
Mm,
impossible. Impossible. You
mm,
know, when you're an overachiever and you've achieved so much in your life and you're so known for being that
yeah.
and you're not, and it's embarrassing, it's humiliating.
Mm,
I was ashamed that I was not okay. Kind of reminded me when I had my kid, I had postpartum depression really bad for a whole year,
really?
and it felt the same way that
Really?
I was not okay and I didn't know how to fix it. And I'm usually, my dad said something wonderful to me, and this applies for COVID, applies for business.
Mm,
I was just bawling after my daughter was born, and I said, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. He goes, you know, Lynn, you're so used to performing magic at these weddings you do and in your business that you do so well.
mhm.
It's time you learn how to create magic at home and define what that looks like. I
Wow.
still get choked up thinking about that. He's
What
a
a
man of
core
few
memory.
words. When he talks, it's important. And I've lived with that since. You
Wow.
have to find a new magic.
Yeah.
So from my drop and my crisis in COVID personally and mentally and physically too, I gained 80 pounds. It was ridiculous. I just got really mad in 2022, got really mad,
Yeah.
had a huge year, barely made it. Holy man, that was crazy. But I took everything I could do because I had loans to pay off and I paid them all off in 12 months. But after that, I'm like, I can't live like this anymore. I can't live with this kind of pressure on myself. I have to be kinder to myself somehow.
Yeah.
So I got a great doctor
Good.
that helped
Good,
me
good,
lose the weight. I
good.
went on hormone replacement therapy. I quit drinking. I'm almost done smoking. And I just slowed down
Yeah.
and just felt better and said no more often. My time is very valuable now. So I don't want to take on the world anymore. Everything that I do have in my life, I want to do really well and be very successful at that. But volume is not in my world anymore.
Did you expect, let me ask you this. So this is sort of when did we come out of that learning lesson? 22, 22, 23-ish? We came out of that lesson?
Yeah.
If you look back at like the Lynn Fletcher, because obviously that was a key defining moment in your life for your business, for your, I mean, for everything, for Lynn. But if you look at like all of those lessons and then the other lessons that you've learned since then, do you think that does it surprise you of your capacity for growth?
100%.
Ha ha.
The
Ha
grit,
ha.
the grit and the sheer stubbornness
Yes.
and the ability to dig deep and deep and deeper and then some more, you know, do what I can and then do a little bit more
Yeah.
always because I was so mad at myself, at the world, at like, but in hindsight, it was the greatest blessing that I ever could have been given was to be knocked down like that. Just like when I got fired from my pink tornado job and just when I left my first husband, like those crises made me who I am today and they made me the strong person that I am today because I had to fight for it. I had to work for it.
Yeah.
People that get it given to them on a silver platter and, you know, have everybody learn for them. I learned everything from the ground up. I'm like going to school uphill both ways kind of gal, and I get shit for it all the time at work. But you
Mhm.
know, I wasn't going to be satisfied until I knew what I knew and knew what I needed to do next.
Yeah. Yeah. So taking all of those experiences, all of those, environments, knowing what you
Mm.
know now, what does legacy look like for you moving forward?
Yeah, I often wonder what people say about me. Yeah, a little scared, not gonna be honest, not gonna lie. But you know, I think legacy is the world of hard work, and don't stop for mediocre. Don't accept medium.
Yeah, never accept mediocrity. Blech.
No, and I have people coming back to me now that used to work for me that have done the gamut, and they're all in great other places, and they always say, I learned
So much.
the bar that I have to work in. I learned that from you. I learned how high that bar needs to be in order to be exceptional in our community.
Yeah.
And I think what I want to be remembered and known for is just the uplift of the community that I've given. Like, sometimes I'm like, you can do it, girl. Oh, yeah. Other times I'm like, get off your ass. Let's go. I'm going to help you. Let's do the floods of 2013. Same thing. We
Yes.
saved so many weddings that at that time. That's a whole other show, too. But
Mm.
I always jump in both feet, personally and professionally. Anytime I can give my experience or my talent or my skills, I'm in. I'm wearing the t-shirt. In fact, I'll make the t-shirt, and
And there may be sparkles on it.
there's always sparkles. Glitter vinyl, baby, with my Cricut. There's always sparkles. But
What?
business wise, I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm just getting kind of started. Like, I feel like I finally hit my stride at 55. Like, I figured it out, Allison. I think I figured it out, but
You're
it's
like
taken me 25
mid-career.
years.
You're mid-career.
I got 10, 15 more years left in me. I'm not even thinking about that. I
Yeah.
don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know what that looks like, but you know what I do know is
Mm.
that whatever is right will happen.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in that the world again gives you what you need
Hmm.
and not what you want. So it might not be somebody to buy my company for $3 million or whatever. I'm exaggerating. But it might be just like just an epiphany or a message that says, okay, now you can go teach again.
Yeah. Or you
You
can,
you can teach when you're old.
yes.
You don't have
Yes.
to put 60,000 steps in on a Saturday. You can teach other planners. You can become a marriage commissioner. You can marry people. I don't know. We'll see. The world hasn't really told me what I'm going to do then, but I got lots of time left and hundreds of weddings to do still. So,
I love it. I love it. Share with us, please, and thank you, a quote or a mantra that you live by. You probably have a couple.
yeah, I'm just trying to think of a good one. Well, things my dad said, like that, making magic happen,
Mm.
whatever situation you're in, figure out how to make the magic happen. He also told me one time, you do your very, 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 I got told this in junior high. You do your very, very, very best,
Mhm,
and then you push a little bit more.
mhm.
And you do a little bit of that every week of your life, every day of your life. And, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, all these people talk about that all the time, being 1% better, not every day, not every week, and not every month, maybe every year you get 1% better.
Yep. Yeah.
And then you're just astonished where you end up after a while, and you look back and you're like, damn, I did good. Just do
Mm.
a little bit better. Do better.
Do you
My
apply
son
that
laugh all the
same,
time. I'm like, do better. Just do better.
you apply that same like philosophy or approach to both like personal and business?
Yeah.
I think that's a great key takeaway for anyone in business, no matter where you are, whether or not you're in a startup, a scale up, an enterprise, whether you're non-for-profit, for-profit. I think that's a
Mhm.
beautiful anchor. Do you
You
have any?
can't know everything. You
No.
can't. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, you're a startup for 10 years. Who's gonna, who's kidding who here?
Yeah.
You just got to learn. You have to make mistakes. Like, you hear it all the time. You learn from your mistakes more than you do your success. You make 100 mistakes to one successful thing.
Yeah. But the
So you
lessons are
got to
so
shit on your.
valuable.
I know it sucks, but I hate making mistakes. I don't like it at all. But I've learned to see them as learning things. Like, okay, every Monday we get together and I casually just go to all my planners and I go, okay, what happened that was awesome? They all know this. They just say it anyways. What happened that was awesome?
Mhm.
What happened that was like a super duper curveball that you dealt with? And what could we have done better?
Mm.
Name one thing per wedding that we can change. Either that's a template or it's what you say to your team in your team brief, what we need in the toolkit. Maybe we need black socks in the emergency kit, which we do because grooms and dads and groomsmen, they all forget their socks sometimes. You know, something like I needed to get this guy a pair of socks and I didn't have a pair of socks. So let's put socks in the emergency kit. Like we do one thing per wedding every week. I want to celebrate them. I want to brainstorm curveballs because that's your toolkit and that's what makes you valuable as
Yes.
an expert and as a professional that they're paying a lot of money for. They want you to have a ginormous toolbox of curveballs that you've been through before. Been there, done that, seen it all.
Yeah.
I've probably had everything happen to me in my lifetime. I don't know. We'll see moving forward. But but also have the humility to know that you're not perfect. It's not perfect. Your wedding did not go perfect. There's always something to improve on. I'm making templates even today. Almost every day I make a template or I change a template. I'm
Incredible.
never satisfied. That's why I don't do like wedding planning programs, online planning programs or whatever they're called.
Because you're always in continuous improvement, continuous refinement.
I'm always changing it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to pay a lot of money that I'm not going to like tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's good old spreadsheets for me. That's okay. I'm old school. I'm pre-Google.
I'm for Google. Me too. Me too. As as we look to wrap up our time together, what would be one thing?
Aw, really?
I know, I know. What would be one thing, one thought? Maybe especially where like heart and business collide. What's one thought that you could leave the audience with today?
You don't change the world by being loud. You change the world by being quiet. You listen and you notice things around you. I've never got a staff member with an ad ever.
Mm.
I've just put it out in there to the world, got quiet. Somebody crossed my path and I was paying attention. I'm like, hey, what are you doing with your life? You want to work for me? Because I know the world is going to give me what I need.
Yeah.
Maybe not what I want, but what I need. So be quiet and be a server. You're not a commander. You're not the boss. Bosses are the most servers, actually, I think.
Mhm.
Like, you don't become a leader by being in control and like being a dictator. You
Mm.
become a leader from starting on the ground and lifting people up to where you need them to be. And then they end up going further. So just be quiet and listen and admit, like, be humble. Reach for things you don't know. Ask questions. Be a learner for life. That's it.
I've always known, but today has been a great gift because I realize that as beautiful as you are on the outside, you are even more beautiful on the inside.
Aw, thank you.
Thanks for being with me today.
Thank you. You're amazing too. Fan for life. This was fun. Thank you.